All right. Hi, everybody. This is a very weird circumstance happening right now that I was never expecting to ever do for a stream. But, we are talking about that this Bulls Heat game that was supposed to happen at 7:10 p.m. Central Time, and the delay has nearly gone for 2 hours, has officially now been postponed. So, this was supposed to be the Bulls Heat post game stream, and I was kind of looking forward to this one just to see some high-paced action, see Matas Buzelis, play first option again. But looks like that's not going to happen, obviously, as we are dealing with a very weird circumstance right now, and I feel really bad, man. I feel absolutely awful for everybody that went to United Center tonight, took time to go to the United Center tonight, planned to go to the United Center tonight. And it is just flat out embarrassing, I think, to see that this is happening for some reason. I don't know what it is with the Bulls, with them not being able to get things right, but this is just flat out embarrassing. I understand this has happened before in the NBA, but this is still a very rare occurrence overall, and I'm just flat out annoyed just to see that the Bulls and United Center just clearly aren't up to date, and just apparently maybe there's like a leak in the roof or something, but either way, the condensation with the ice is making this game unplayable with the floor being too slippery. So, yeah, I overall think that this is just a flat out embarrassment by the Chicago Bulls and United Center, but what can you do about it? Yeah, I want to talk about a couple things in terms of just like this whole situation, because like I'm gonna say a term called Reinsdorf in this stream, and yes, that is Jerry Reinsdorf's last name with a D attached to at the end. I'll explain what that means and why I really do feel awful for everyone that's involved. But I will say this: I'm happy that a decision was finally made, because it's flat out ridiculous just to keep your fans sitting at the United Center waiting in the dark for hours and hours. Okay. I understand that maybe some people are just like, no, just like, we just want to see a game get played, we'll wait hours and hours for it. But I mean, look, man, it's Thursday, it's not like it's a weekend, right? People got to go to work tomorrow, and to see, just like, first and foremost, I think it took way too long to make a decision in the first place, but I think that this is best to just get the decision out now. But I really did not want to see the team or the United Center people and everyone else making the decision just kind of keep the fans just kind of waiting in the dark and not giving an update for who knows how long, and then probably see that the game just gets canceled anyway. So yeah, I feel awful for everyone that's involved. I know I was talking to someone on Twitter that it was their birthday and they plan to be they plan this whole thing out for their birthday, and it just gets postponed, and it's just flat out ridiculous. But hope the Bulls handle this properly and give a full refund to everybody, which, I mean, I expect them to, but I don't know, man. I feel awful, because, like, some of these fans that went to tonight's game can't go to the refund game, right? And I'm sure a lot of fans spent a lot of money on food, and they're not going to get that money back, which is basically what I mean when I say that someone gets Reinsdorfed, is that, Reinsdorf owns the White Sox, but, what I mean by this is that usually White Sox games, they get delayed due to weather and everything. Now, I understand that it's baseball, like weather delays are just going to happen, but the Sox seem very open to just kind of letting fans into the ballpark and then making a decision much later than it's necessary to. And it's just like, again, like fans come in, they pay for tickets, and then they pay for stuff that can't get refunded, right? Like food. And then it's like, oh, the game's postponed anyway, or it's a doubleheader tomorrow, right? I never thought that it'd be possible to Reinsdorf fans at the United Center, but the fans, unfortunately, just got Reinsdorf today. And it's flat out disgusting that it happened. This is a flat out disgrace by the United Center and everyone there to not have the court ready to go tonight. When the Bulls, there was no, I mean, I don't know the entire full United Center schedule, but the Bulls were not in town yesterday. They came in from Detroit. And I would hope that people would be ready for something like this and make sure the court is ready to go come game time. But very clearly, people are incompetent and we're not ready to do so. So We're gonna get notice. I mean, I don't know when, but we'll get notice about when this game is gonna be rescheduled. If you're wondering about why this game cannot be played tomorrow, basically both the Bulls and the Heat play on Saturday. But the problem is that the Heat also play on Sunday. So if, let's say, we move the game to tomorrow, then the Heat will be playing a back-to-back-to-back, which is absolutely just unnecessary for them. Like, we've seen it before in the COVID season, right? In that COVID season, we did see a team play a back-to-back-to-back, but the NBA is going to try to avoid that by all costs. So there's no way they're going to allow this to happen. Allow that to happen again. So we cannot play this game tomorrow, unfortunately, because the Heat have a back-to-back-to-back if we play the game tomorrow. So I was kind of just briefly looking through the schedule. I honestly do not know when it's actually going to happen here. Casey Johnson briefly mentioned this on the broadcast that the Bulls and the Heat have a home and home. It's in Miami. In at the end of January into February, but it's like these are both games in Miami, so I don't really know when it's going to be made up. All-Star break's always an option, but I know they don't want to like bring in players early from an All-Star break. So NBA will figure it out. I'm just extremely annoyed that this happened though, and I feel awful for all the fans involved that have to just take this, and it's just like, God, man, like this is just garbage. This should not happen at all at this point, but here we are. Flat out disgusting. What the heck is going on right now with the Game/Floor? Yeah, I saw your comment earlier, Taro. But yeah, pretty much though, it's because of the humid weather and the warmer weather in Chicago right now. Like it is, I don't know, it's like 50. Maybe did it reach 50 degrees today? I'm not really sure, but it's a lot warmer than you would expect, in early January, right? And obviously the United Center floor has ice underneath it because it's the home of the Blackhawks. So, they have a crew there at the United Center that always changes, the floor, for whatever game is going to be played there, whether it's, a hockey game or a basketball game. To do that though, the ice is always under the floor though at the United Center. So if you're gonna play basketball, the ice is underneath the floor that you're gonna be playing on. And so that is ice, like that's actual ice. And with the humid weather, and the hotter weather, and kind of like this weird scenario where it was colder the previous day, and now it's a little bit hotter, it's kind of creating a condensation effect onto the floor, with the ice and the hotter and humid weather. So that's happening. It's also raining, so that also doesn't help with the humidity. It's just adding more humidity, and it seems like they were saying that there's a leak in the roof, which if that is the case, that is just ridiculous. I need someone fired immediately for that. But either way, though, there is wetness or condensation on the floor, whether it's from a leak in the roof or the condensation from the ice. And it's just too slippery. And players were basically saying it's like they're running on grease, which is just like, that is basically setting up a player to get hurt. So we do not want that to happen. Player safety is always going to come first and foremost. And so the game gets postponed. It's just flat out just embarrassing, though, that this is happening at the United Center right now. It is just disgusting that somehow, some way, the Bulls found a way to, or the United Center found a way to let this happen. Like, this should not be happening anymore, in my opinion. But I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know all, everything here. I'm not in charge, but like for something this rare to happen, like I think it's pretty embarrassing for this to happen to the Bulls and the United Center. So yet again, another just terrible look at how things are run here. But I'm not blaming anybody that's, that worked very hard to try to get the floor, all dry and everything like that. Those people work their asses off and they deserve everything. But I'm more talking about the lead decision makers who clearly are incompetent to try to make sure that this is fine. Now, maybe this was out of their hands. Like maybe they could have done anything in their willpower to try to stop this, and nothing would have changed. If that is the case, then you know what? I apologize for blaming you. But again, this rarely happens. And I think it's just a flat out embarrassing thing for this to happen. So, I hope everyone gives a big round of applause to all those people that were trying to mop up the floor and try to get it dry, to try to get this game in. Those people deserve a ton of respect. And they deserve all the praise in the world for trying to do things, trying to get this game in, and because they're the ones that actually are doing the work. But the lead decision makers, who very clearly just are not prepared for something like this, which is not the workers' faults, right? Like, those people are doing everything that they're told to do, and they're doing a great job. I'm talking about these people that are in charge of, you know, changing the floor out, and, you know, they're the lead decision makers trying to make sure everything's prepared for big events to happen, where people spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to go to. Very clearly just did not think of something like this today, and they absolutely should have, and it's just flat embarrassing that it happened. So I'm sorry to everybody that went to the game and unfortunately did not get a game to see, but yeah, this is just flat out ridiculous, and I'm sorry to everyone. I'm very upset. So we'll see when you guys maybe tell me if there's an update about when this game will be rescheduled, but yeah, we will see when we'll get some sort of notice about this. It might have to be like a week or so. Just try to find some time when both teams have some off days and it's not, gonna schedule a back to back for one of the teams. So, yeah, game postponed. I'm confused. Yeah, I really thought I was dreaming when I was looking for the score of the game. Yeah, this is such a weird occurrence, and I hate it. Like, I just despise this, but God, incredible, man. As a hockey fan, this is incomprehensible levels of incompetence, and any attempts to blame this on the Blackhawks is nonsense, given the Bulls have always had control of the building. Oh yeah, this is definitely not on the Blackhawks whatsoever. No, this is not on the ice being there or anything like that. This is on the Chicago Bulls and the people that run the United Center that make the decisions about when the floor should be ready or not. And they absolutely failed to be ready for something like this today. Like, for example, like, if they knew that, okay, it's hotter weather, there's ice underneath, and we changed the floor out, maybe last night or whatever, we need to be pumping the air conditioning all day to try to make sure that there's not going to be so much condensation on the floor come game time, right? But very clearly, they didn't turn on the air conditioning until this became a problem for everybody and we were trying to start the game, right? That is just incompetence by everybody involved, okay? That's not on the Blackhawks. That's not on the people that are just doing their job normally and just being told what to do, okay? That's on the lead decision makers, and it's just absolutely embarrassing that this happened tonight. And it's causing so many problems for not just these teams involved and everyone else that's, that works for the teams, but for all these fans, man. Like, they're gonna get a refunded ticket, but some people can't go, right? It's just absolutely disgusting to see that this happened today. This is something that should never happen in basketball. Again, I'm aware that this has happened before. We've seen other games get postponed like this, but it's just like, come on. We're in 2026 now, okay? It's a new year. Like, this should not be happen. This should absolutely not happen at all, okay? There are things that can happen that make a lot of sense for why things need to get postponed. Like, Kobe Bryant's death makes a lot of sense for that Lakers getting it postponed. But something like this, which is very easily avoidable, in my opinion, should not be happening at all. And I just, many people won't think about it, but it's just like, there's so many fans that get absolutely just screwed over by this situation, and I feel awful for them. Because, like, this is not their fault. This is basically everyone else's incompetence, not being able to have the floor ready in time, which is ridiculous. So yeah, I'm annoyed. But we're gonna talk a little bit about the Bulls Pistons game in this stream a little bit later on, because I did not stream after that game and I have my thoughts on it. Unfortunately, we don't have a game to talk about tonight, but I also have an article that I posted on Nonstop Sportsnet today, so we can talk about my article a little bit, talk about Montes Buzelis's recent play, and kind of dive into some of those numbers if you want to. But yeah, I just want to make this clear. I wanted to just start streaming and just kind of start ranting a little bit. That, to me, this is ridiculous. Like, this is absolutely insane that this happened today. It's just absolute ridiculous levels of incompetence by the United Center people that are in charge. Okay, I'm not talking about just the general workers there. I'm talking about the people that are in charge that get paid a lot of money. And they're not the ones actually, mopping up the floors, right? They're the ones that are supposed to make sure that the floor is always ready to go on a certain time. And they just flat out weren't ready for it. If there is actually a leak, though, in the United Center roof, which it sounds like there might have been, I mean, that is just absolutely insane, and someone needs to be fired for it. Like, I cannot stand the fact that there is potentially a leak in the roof. Like, what are we doing? I mean, the Bulls are a ridiculously rich, very, very wealthy organization. Like, if there's a leak in the roof, that is insane. That is an insane level of incompetence. That cannot happen whatsoever. And if that is the case, then like I actually do think the Bulls should be fined or something, because that is just ridiculous. Come on. We cannot let that happen at all. White Sox fans can at least look forward to Ishbia. I mean, I'm praying to God that Ishbia's gonna take over, but I'm not sure. Because there is a world where Reinsdorf doesn't give up control. But I'm hoping that Ishbia takes over. Embarrassing for sure, yeah. So SMA's just ruined the NBA schedule. I mean, I'm just concerned about like how this is all gonna work out, because like, you know, like the NBA schedule is a very tight schedule right now, especially like past like the in-season tournament. So I don't really know how this is gonna like work out, but you know, the NBA will figure it out. They've done this before. Like we've seen obviously Bulls games get canceled during the COVID season. You know, we rescheduled some and didn't reschedule some. But yeah, the NBA will figure it out. But it just, yeah, like we gotta we gotta figure this out. Like, you know, the NBA's gonna figure that part out. But what I need the United Center people to figure out and the Bulls organization to figure out is, how can we make sure that this doesn't happen again? And if there's a fucking leak in the roof, like, let's make sure that we take care of that very quickly, and we don't have to worry about it again this season, because Jesus, man. This, again, just should not be happening. This messes up with a lot of people's plans. Absolutely ruins a lot of people's days, because a lot of people spent a lot of their hard-earned money to go to the game tonight, and no game was played. So, again, I expect a refund for every ticket holder to this game, but if that does not happen, I'm gonna be losing my mind. And the NBA should be relegating the Bulls from the association. Is this on Jerry, or should I put my pitchfork away? I would blame part of this on Jerry Reinsdorf personally. Either way, I think that you can blame, if you don't want to blame like this whole condition stuff on Reinsdorf, okay. But what I will be blaming on Reinsdorf is that it took 2 hours for this game to kind of get figured out and everything. Now, I understand that the NBA has a part in this, if like, you know, they're going to try to get it in. But I really do think, though, that a lot of fans that went to United Center tonight, they basically got Reinsdorfed. Where they, again, like, your ticket's going to get refunded, most likely. I'm hoping that this actually does happen. It should. And parking should also be refunded. But, you know, money spent on food, right? That's gone forever. You know, you spent money on, you know, some like apparel, that's gone, right? And, you know, fans had to wait around a lot for 2 hours for some sort of decision to be made. And I would personally blame that on Reinsdorf a bit, because it's just like, okay, like, come on, we gotta, you know, basically, it's me just being, I'm definitely out of my line here, but it's basically me saying like Reinsdorf's just like kind of like money grabbing a little bit here, because that's what the Reinsdorfs always do with the White Sox games. But you know, maybe it's not actually the case, and you know, the NBA had to like hold on to the decision for a long time, and you know, teams had to make a decision, whatever. But like, to me, this game should, like, once an hour hit of a delay, like, everyone should be sent home at that point. Like, it's already too long. Like, there's very clearly no, like, the court isn't getting any better at a rapid rate. Like, to me, that's on Reinsdorf. Now, if, you know, people don't, maybe that's me being too harsh on them, and like, you know, you have every right to say that, but to me, like, I'm gonna blame part of this on Reinsdorf, because the Bulls as an organization made some money tonight, and there was no game being played. And I'm not talking about the tickets, I'm not talking about the parking, because those should be refunded, but many people went to the game and spent money on things, right? That's not gonna be refunded, okay? And that's all part of the experience. Like, you pay to go and get those, like, you know, get the food, get the experience, be at the place, whatever, right? But that's not gonna get refunded tonight. So, to me, that is, you know, that's definitely, to me, a bit on Reinsdorf, but, you know, that's my opinion at the end of the day. Apparently, AC wasn't on the building per Will Gottlieb. Yes, so, Casey Johnson did report this during the delay on Chicago Sports Network, which still is an awful overall sports network. That the AC eventually was turned on, and the officials said it was helping, but obviously it wasn't helping enough, right? That's, though, in my opinion, right, the fact that the AC already wasn't on, and the Bulls, you know, people that are in charge of making these decisions to make sure the floor is ready, for certain events didn't even consider this, or didn't even consider the fact that, like, oh, hey, the AC needs to be turned on to make sure that the court doesn't get all this moisture built up onto it. That to me is an insane level of incompetence. That should not be happening, okay? The AC should have been on all day because they have to take care of the court. That is their job, right? It is their job to be taking care of the court and making sure that it is ready to go at game time. But very clearly, they were not ready for that and did not consider it, which is flat out ridiculous. And those people need to be there needs to be some sort of punishment for them or something like that, because I am aware that they get paid a lot of money to take care of the court. Again, I'm not talking about the people that were actually out there and trying to mop up the floor or anything like that. Those people are absolutely one of the best people in the world, and they deserve a lot of respect. I'm talking about the lead decision makers that have to manage, making sure the court is ready. Because they're not out there, changing the floorboards or, mopping up the floor or anything like that. But they absolutely just forgot things today, or just decided to be incompetent today. So that cannot happen. I am absolutely disappointed to see this, and it's just flat out an embarrassment. Because if you're not aware, by the way, many other teams, like many other NBA teams, their arena also holds hockey team. Like, many other teams have the exact same sort of format as the United Center, where there's ice underneath the NBA floor. There's many other teams that have this exact same sort of situation where both the hockey team and the basketball team play in the same spot. So they can get things right. Like, I'm sure that they've had, humid days or hotter days than they're expecting, but they still make sure that the floor is ready to go. Again, I'm aware that this has happened beforehand, but this is just very rare to see. And unfortunately for a Bulls organization that has already shown it in insane levels of incompetence, okay, I'm not going to give them any sort of favors here or cut them any slack, because they deserve all the criticism that is coming their way for anything at this point. And this right here is just a prime example, in my opinion. What's going on, Calvin? Glad to hear you're better. Thank you, man. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling better. I'm still dealing with some stuff. Still having some dizzy moments when I do kind of walk around and everything. But yeah, I am feeling a bit better here. This is crazy. I saw so many drinks bought and whatnot, bro. It's crazy. Sitting there for an hour, no getting to proceed. Yeah, like all the money that people spent on drinks, right? That's money that's just gone, and you didn't get to watch a game. Like, that's insane to me. And that money is those drinks and everything that's there, like that's very expensive, right? Like, if you're gonna go to any sort of sporting event in Chicago, like the food and drinks are very expensive, and so people spent their hard-earned money on concessions and no game was played. Like, that is the definition of Reinsdorfed, if you're wondering. Like, that is basically getting Reinsdorfed. And again, I never thought it would happen in United Center because it's indoors and there is no weather to be considering, but very clearly that, new things happen. And we have an incompetent levels of people working the United Center, making sure the floor is ready. Like, come on. Been a while, hilarious situation. Yeah, what's going on, Raza? Yeah, I know it's been a while, but this is definitely just ridiculous. No, I was looking at the weather being well over 50 degrees. I mean, yeah, that's my point. I'm just like, if you weren't considering this and you're in charge of the floor, like, come on, man. Like, that's unacceptable. Because again, I mean, this has been this is not like the first time this has ever happened, okay? Like, we've seen this happen before, so we should all be aware of something like this to happen. And people are in charge, make sure the floor is ready. Very clearly, they weren't ready for it today. So, once again, just to talk about why this game cannot happen tomorrow, because I was looking at the schedule for both these teams. So yeah, both teams play on Saturday, which, by the way, there will be no post-game stream for Saturday because everyone in Chicago should be focusing on that Bears-Packers game that's going to be happening at the exact same time somehow. So make sure you turn into, if you're in the Chicago area, it will be on Fox. But if you are not and just want to watch the game, if you go to twitch.tv and go to I believe it's Prime Video, the channel, all Amazon Prime games for football are streamed on Twitch for free, so you do not need to buy an Amazon Prime subscription to watch it, even though this game will be on Prime. But yeah, if you're in the Chicago area, it will be broadcasted on Fox 32. But if you're not and just want to watch the game but don't want to pay for a Prime subscription, because I don't blame you, you can go on to Twitch and you can watch the game for free. So you'll find it there. I promise you, if you just go on to twitch.tv, it'll be on the home page. You can click on it, and again, it's free. All right. So this game here, this is when the Bulls will be taking on Dallas at the United Center. So until the floor is ready. And Cooper Flags will be in town, but no one should be paying attention to this game because the Bears are playing the Packers. So no post-game stream for this game here. I do apologize for that, but it's, you know, it's the right thing to do, honestly. But you know, I was thinking in my head, I know some people were thinking as well, like, why can't we just play this game tomorrow, right? Well, so it would be okay for the Bulls if you played this game tomorrow. Like, that'd be fine for them. But for the Heat, it's not possible because when you look at their schedule, they play on Saturday and Sunday. So if the game was rescheduled to tomorrow, then they'd be playing it back-to-back-to-back. And that is obviously something that should not be happening. So I don't know when we're going to get any sort of notification about when this game is going to be rescheduled. Maybe there's already a decision made, but I have not checked Twitter in a little bit here. But yeah, I just I'm annoyed with how this has just happened, but we'll see if we get any sort of decision. Again, I'm not really expecting a decision until like maybe like next week when the NBA kind of looks at things. So yeah, we'll see what happens here. Okay, so tickets from tonight will be valid for the rescheduled game, which is just, to me, like, I hate this because, again, like, whenever the rescheduled game is, some people can't go to that, right? But, like, I would rather them just refund the money. Like, that to me is the best thing to do, but whatever, fine. But the biggest thing to me right now that's a little bit concerning is the fact that this did not say parking. So, if the Bulls actually do not refund the parking, then this is flat out insane. Like, I need the NBA to fine the Bulls themselves right now if the Bulls didn't refund the parking. They should be refunding the parking in this sort of situation. But who knows? If you aren't aware, the Bulls did a closed walkthrough earlier, and they felt the condensation on the floor. So if you're wondering about, like, oh, did this just, like, kind of pop up, like, come game time? No. Like, the Bulls were in the United Center earlier, and they felt it. But very clearly they couldn't get the floor fixed in time, so which is just, again, ridiculous. I'm so annoyed by it. Yeah, but we will see. Yeah, so if you want to read through what Casey Johnson had to say, go ahead and do so. Eric Spoelstra talked a little bit very clearly, but obviously, you know, a practice court is different than the United Center, how big it is, and all the people in the arena, which doesn't help. So it's all just different situations. So like a practice court is not the same as an arena filled with 20,000 people. So yeah, if you want an update about the horse game that was being played between Okoro and Javon Carter, they were tied in horse. So that game did not get a resolution, just as we didn't get a resolution to this game because, yep, it got postponed. Yeah, MSG, Staples, TD Garden, Scotiabank, American Airlines Center, Dallas, Ball, Capital One, yeah. At all those arenas all have NBA and NHL teams, and they have, like, don't get me wrong, because again, like, we've seen, I think it was in Philly that they had this issue before in 2017, this exact issue, because they, again, you know, the same problem. So it has happened before, but it hasn't happened in a long time. So this is just disgusting just to see overall. I'm so mad. Anything for Will Gottlieb, that was his tweets announcing that the game will be postponed. Or the play-in, of course. Yeah, this is very important. Don't worry, the Miami Heat will be back at some point, no matter what. Yeah. So, it's disgusting just to see this happen. I'm just so annoyed. So, any last thoughts, honestly, before we move on here? We can talk about the Bears. We can talk about Buzelis and the Pistons game if we want to, and also trade stuff. So we can talk about anything we want here before we kind of just close out this random kind of weird stream that's happened tonight. I appreciate y'all tuning in for something like this. Like, there was no game to be talking about, and we're still here. So I sincerely do appreciate all the support. Weird situation, but I sincerely appreciate y'all tuning in. Too nervous for this Bears game? I am very nervous for the Bears game. I'm also very nervous, but I'm gonna trust that the Bears at home are gonna pull it out. Past that game though, I don't feel very good about the Bears' chances, but they pulled out, victories all season long that I didn't think they're gonna get, so I'm looking forward to it. Oh, the Trae Young trade, yeah, forgot about that. Yeah, you guys kind of asked, maybe the Wizards dude is not serious, so yeah, let's talk about the Trae Young trade, honestly, because we actually finally did get a trade. That trade is also, like, it just completely slipped my mind because, like, in my opinion, I'm like, well, I mean, it already kind of happened before it even happened, but, oh, update from the Bulls. Never mind. Okay. So, let's talk about the Trae Young trade really quickly here, because this did happen. Yesterday, this happened. So, Trae Young, his time in Atlanta has come to an end, which is very kind of interesting to see. I do think Atlanta has made the right decision overall. They kind of came into the season with Trae Young as like, okay, this is like a prove it year. We're not going to give you an extension. You need to kind of earn your extension here. And so you need to come in and help us win. And this season, I need to go look at the actual stats here, so give me a second, but the Hawks were significantly worse when Trae Young was off the court this season. Yeah, so the Atlanta Hawks were 2-8 with Trae Young this season, and they were 16-13 without Trae Young this season. Now, I don't think this like fully reflects as like, okay, Trae Young is just absolutely like a losing player, like flat out is just like he's just negative on the floor. I don't necessarily think it's fully that. However, I do think that Trae Young recently has, especially this season when he has played, his first and foremost his defense has somehow gotten worse, which I just didn't think was possible for when he kind of first came into the league. Like, he's small, we get that. He's already a liability on the defensive end just because he's small. But like he basically when I was watching the Atlanta Hawks, which was mostly when the Bulls only play them, but I tuned in some other games. But Trae Young just would not try. Like, it was just flat out disgusting just to watch. Like, you think like Zach LaVine's terrible on defense or Josh Giddey's bad on defense, go watch Trae Young and come back to me, because like Trae Young's defense this season was just atrocious. It was just an insane levels of incompetence from him. I also think that Trae Young just kind of started to go back to like his shot chucking ways from like 35 footers from deep when it's just absolutely unnecessary. Trae Young is not Steph Curry. He thinks he's Steph Curry, but he's not Steph Curry. And his shooting percentage this season for some reason has just kind of just declined. Or maybe I'm still tricking myself into thinking that it might have declined earlier, but no, it has. Okay, yeah, this season. So like he's down to 30% from 3-point range this season, which is just like, okay, bro, like, I mean, you weren't like the best 3-point shooter, but like this is an insane levels of low for you. He's still a very good passer. I think Trae Young is still a very good passer. Him in the pick and roll is still a very effective play in today's league. The problem is though, is just that the Atlanta Hawks were watching like, well, Jalen Johnson, he's our guy right now. Nickeil Alexander-Walker played very well for Trae Young in the starting, or when he was in the starting lineup when Trae Young went out with injury. The Hawks have a lot of like options right now where they can go, and like they decided to rob in Jalen Johnson, which I think is the right decision here. And so Trae Young then asks for a trade, and the Wizards just kind of come up and are like, yeah, we'll take him, and they send CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert, and somehow no other draft picks were involved in this deal. Now, it's very funny to me, just to get this really quickly here, it's very funny to me that when I look at both sides of like, there's both sides of the story here for like who people think like which team should have given up the draft pick, because there's some people that say the Wizards should have gotten a draft pick here because this is basically a salary dump, right? You're getting an expiring contract to CJ McCollum when Trae Young has a player option for next season. And it's basically a salary dump. Therefore, the Hawks should have given up a pick in this to like basically salary dump Trae Young to the Wizards, right? And the Wizards should have, they could have gotten Trae Young and a pick out of this. Now there's the other side though that says like the Atlanta Hawks should have gotten a pick for Trae Young because Trae Young, he was an all-star, multi-time all-star in this league. And sure, maybe his value is at a low, but like you should have still gotten something for him. But to me, I think that it's a win for the Hawks, honestly, that the Hawks didn't have to give up a pick here, because I think this deal, from what has been kind of told from like what Shams has kind of leaked out, that I think this deal is setting up the Hawks to go and make another deal, which, you know, what Shams has said is Anthony Davis is like their next target, right? Now, I'm not sure if it's going to really be Anthony Davis here, but the Atlanta Hawks have a lot of firepower to go and trade for somebody else right now, like a pretty big, you know, acquisition here. Getting rid of Trae Young's money has helped open up the books a little bit to go ahead and make a pretty significant splash, and they have a lot of picks that they can trade right now to go and make that deal possible. Add in the fact that they have Risa Shea as maybe a trade candidate, right? Like, it's very doable for them. They have a lot of kind of big contracts to kind of, you know, use to try to maybe get someone on, you know, some big money. Like, that's what I think this is what the Atlanta Hawks are doing with this deal, is that they're trading Trae Young away, but they're going to go ahead and make another big splash because of this deal. Therefore, at least in my opinion, it's a big win, at least to me, that the Hawks didn't have to give up a pick in this deal, because that allows them to use that pick to now go and trade for somebody else, right? And I think that's important for them. So, in my opinion, I think that this is honestly, like, it makes sense for both sides. Like, the way I kind of look at it is like, this is like a B plus for the Atlanta Hawks, and like, it was like a B for the Wizards. The Wizards, to me, like, they're obviously taking like a chance here, but I'm just kind of concerned at what their next move is going to be, because I think the Wizards have done a good job recently with their whole kind of like decision making, and you know, they've done a lot, like, you know, once they got rid of Bradley Beal, and like they've done a lot of moves, and it to me has made a lot of sense for what they've done. I also do think that Alex Sarr is becoming, you know, a pretty solid player, and having Trae Young kind of set him up for some shots will be pretty good. The young talent, though, for the Wizards is still kind of in like limbo area, because there's guys like Koulibaly that have not developed at all. But you got guys like Alex Sarr who have taken a leap this season. Trey Johnson's interesting for sure. You know, Bub Carrington, his 3-point shot is like kind of taking a leap, but he hasn't really taken a leap overall. So like they're kind of just like in this weird kind of spot, but you know, they're taking a chance with Trae Young. They're like, if Trae Young comes back and plays to his all-star caliber self, like, all right, you got Trae Young for basically only giving up CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. Like, that's kind of what they're kind of betting on here. But if, let's say, this doesn't work out, like, and to me, I don't think the fit really works for this Wizards team. I don't really like the fit overall. Let's say this doesn't work out, right? Then you only have Trae Young on the books for two years, and the Wizards already we're gonna have a bunch of cap space anyway. So you know they're using this cap space to take a risk. So I don't mind it, honestly, for the Wizards. I don't really love the fit, though, with Trae Young in that current core, but that could change. So we'll see. It does make me think, though, like, are the Wizards going to tank out the rest of the season, or are they actually going to try? I don't really know yet, but we will see what happens. So I'm interested in seeing how this works out for both sides. I'm more interested in what the Hawks do, because I do think that they're actually going to go and make a big move here. I just don't know who that's going to be. It seems like Anthony Davis is the target. And I think for the Wizards, it might just be kind of like we have to wait and see type of stuff. But it's definitely very interesting. Great game tonight, yeah. Definitely a great game tonight. Trae just went out of Atlanta, really, if chose the Wiz kids. I think it was a combination of that Trae Young definitely really wanted out of Atlanta because Atlanta wanted out on him. Like, Atlanta didn't want him anymore. And so he's just like, all right, well, I'll go to some team that takes me. And the Wizards are like, yeah, we'll take you. We'll try to see how this works. And he's like, sure. If I'm going to go and play somewhere that I'm wanted, like, that's all he kind of wants right now. So we'll see how this ends up being. Great shooting, horrible, but 19-9 is still extra production that can help you win. I agree. I just do think, though, that he has to either increase his offensive production or he has to be better defensively. Like, you can't, in my opinion, you can't average 19-9 on bad efficiency and also play terrible defense. Like, that's just not going to work. And his defense, to me, is like the lowest of the lows. So it's either he's going to have to average that and play better defense, or he's going to have to get back up to being like 24-10, which that will be, you know, more effective. Which I think he can get back up to. I just am not sure if it's going to work out necessarily.
Dyson Daniels is having a down year. His shooting percentages are dreadful this season. Yeah. His defense is still good. It's just his shooting percentages is just disgusting. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit concerned for Dyson Daniels this season, but we'll see. Yeah. Any thoughts on this deal? Who do you think won? Because in my opinion, I think the Atlanta Hawks kind of did pretty well in this. Because again, like, they didn't have to give up a pick, and they wanted, like, they're better without Trae Young anyway. You know, if they want to just kind of plug and play CJ McCollum, like, that seems very doable. Getting Corey Kispert's kind of nice. But I mean, I know a lot of people are just like, if you're on the Wizards side, you're just like, well, I traded CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert for Trae Young. Like, that sounds great. And I'm just like, I mean, I personally don't value Trae Young that much right now, so, you know, I'll disagree with those people, but I can understand both sides, honestly. So let me know what you guys think about this. All right, let's talk about something else here. I want to talk about this with you guys. And maybe we could like briefly talk about the Pistons game that we saw for the Bulls on yesterday. So again, just shout out. I'm gonna go ahead and plug my article here. So I wrote an article that was posted today about Buzelis and his development in these past 5 games, and so just kind of want to briefly just kind of summarize a little bit here. But I wanted to kind of point out to some numbers, and so if you want to look at the rest of the article, you can. But I wanted to go ahead and point out to some numbers that was kind of interesting for me to look at here. Since Josh Giddey has gone out, so it's been 5 games since Josh Giddey's missed 5 games, right? 6 games ago, he left with the hamstring strain against the Timberwolves. Okay, we're not counting that game, but we're counting the games that he has fully missed, and we've seen Matas Buzelis' usage percentage increase from 19.7 to 26.8. And this is like a pretty key moment in my opinion, because it's like, okay, Buzelis is going to actually get the ball in his hands more, which I've been calling for all season long, even if Giddey and White are there. But Billy Donovan doesn't seem like he wants that to happen. But Buzelis has taken the reins, and he's gone from 14 points per game for all the games prior to the Giddey injury and the White injury to, in the last 5 games, he's averaged 20.6 points per game. Like, that's very, very good to see. And he's increased his field goal attempts from 10.4 to 14.8 per game, and he's been the leading field goal attempt taker on the Bulls in the last 5 games, which he just barely edges out Vucevic. But the biggest thing to me, though, is that even with the increased amount of usage and the increased shots, and, you know, he has the ball more, the defense is more focused on him, Buzelis' efficiency has actually stayed true. Like, he stayed consistent with his efficiency. Before, you know, the Giddey and White injury, Buzelis came in and he was shooting 48.6% from the field and had a 60.2 true shooting percentage. In the last 5 games so far, right, since the injury, Buzelis has still maintained a 48.6 field goal percentage and a 60.0 true shooting percentage. So, pretty much, like, he has shown that even with the increased usage, and, you know, the more attention from the defense and, you know, having the ball in his hands more, making decisions more, his efficiency has stayed the same, which is great to see. Now, I don't really know if this is going to continue, but you've now gotten a 5-game stretch where he performed great against the Boston Celtics and the Magic and the Detroit Pistons, right? Those are 3 teams in the top 6 in the Eastern Conference right now, or maybe it's 7 with the Magic, I'm not sure, but like, they're at the top of the East, okay? Specifically the Boston and Detroit games, which I know that Detroit was missing guys, but still. You know, the Hornets game wasn't that good. The Pelicans game was, like, good. It could have been better. But, like, you have, like, these games here where it's just, like, he's performing really well against, you know, some decent defenses here. And his efficiency stayed true. So, I kind of go on to, like, show, like, hey, like, this is what's going to continue for him. Like, he absolutely needs the ball in his hands more, because if there's a whole concern about him, like, oh, if he takes more shots, his efficiency is just, you know, his efficiency is gonna like dip down to, like, you know, low lows, but that hasn't happened so far, and I think that's important to look at. What is that, Rossi? Does his trade impact your beliefs about the Zion trade buzz? Right now it doesn't, but if the Pelicans come out and officially say, which I know there's some rumors about it, like they're looking just to salary dump him, like, I can maybe kind of get on board. with it, but my only thing though is just that I talked about this the Zion contract already. Like, to me, if the Pelicans really just wanted to salary dump him, like, they could just waive him, right? Which is the reason why I don't buy that. Because if they waive him, like, his money is not guaranteed moving forward. Like, the amount of guaranteed money for this season is based on how many games he plays this season, and so, like, they can just waive him, and, like, this money is not on the books at all in 2027 for them. But you know, I understand, at least from what I think, is that they're trying to get some sort of value out of him. Like, they're willing to trade him, but they want value out of him and not just salary dump him for nothing, right? Well, I'm not really sure, honestly. I think that's the reason why I'm still, like, I'm not, like, fully on board of, like, you know, the Bulls should be, like, trying to target him, because I think the Pelicans are going to ask for too much. Like, I still think they're going to want a Bulls first round pick, not the Portland pick. And that to me is already too much, because it's just like, I'm not giving up any of those picks right now. There's just no reason in my opinion, for the Bulls to do such a thing. But who knows? If the Pelicans do actually come out and they're like, yeah, we'll take this, we just really want to salary dump him, like, we'll just take expirings and, like, not really take anything else, like, yeah, I'm willing to take on Zion if just a straight salary dump. Like, we trade, like, Zach Collins, you know, Kevin Huerter and something else, and, you know, maybe like a second rounder or something, like, or maybe even like the Portland pick. Like, I even said, like, the Portland pick, like, if we trade, like, the Portland pick, you know, like Vucevic, Collins, and, like, Kobe for, like, I'm on board with it, but I just don't think they're gonna accept that. I just don't, which is the reason why I'm just like, if you're gonna ask for more than that, to me, it's just not worth it. But yeah, like I said, if they're asking for any of the Bulls picks, I'm like, nope, I'm done. Like, there's no way, because I think the Bulls need their picks right now. But yeah, if it's a salary dump, sure, I'm willing to take on Zion. I'd be all for it, but yeah, I don't know. The other thing, though, unfortunately for some people that are, you know, and this includes myself, like, I'm on the trade Kobe train right now just because I just despise this core together. Not necessarily because of just, like, their talent, it's just that their fit doesn't make any sense. But you know, if you're on the trade Kobe train, like, that Trae Young trade, like, Trae Young got traded for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. I mean, I understand that Kobe White is on a much cheaper contract, but, like, it just the market, it seems like, for Kobe right now is just absolutely in the dirt. Now, there seems to be always, like, these rumors still coming out about, like, okay, like, you know, all these teams are still calling, but I don't know if that's just, like, the Bulls leaking that or Kobe's representatives are leaking that. I don't really know, honestly. Maybe it's actually true. But I mean, if Trae Young got traded for that, then, like, why would teams trade for Kobe, who's dealt with calf issues all season long? He's on the last year of his contract that I mean, like, I don't think you'd be able to extend him, but maybe he's played so bad to the point where he's not even looking for, you know, like, $120+ million contract this upcoming offseason. And if that is the case, then, like, sure, if he's willing to accept, like, a 4-year, $80 million extension, like, that's doable. Like, you could extend him that way. That's in the rules. But I just don't think he's looking for that. I think he's looking for a much more rich contract because he just saw Josh Giddey get $100 million, right? So I'm just like, bro, like, the Kobe White trade value, like, these games, like, because now we're basically just past a month away from the deadline. These games are super important for him to try to see if he can raise his value just in general, whether it's for the Bulls or for a potential trade. But I really do think that guards right now that are, like, not snipers from three and they're not the best defenders, like, they're not really looked at as very valuable right now, especially in Kobe's case. Now, Kobe's bigger than Trae Young, so, like, there's definitely maybe a little bit more kind of room for error for him, but yeah. I saw a report that Touchables are Mondes, Giddey, and Nesenge. So I've also seen that report, but then I've also seen reports that the Bulls truly value Kobe. So I don't really know which one it is. Zion is a mess, I agree with that. Kobe to me is a new Zach LaVine, good player, but doesn't contribute to winning. So I think, I disagree. I know, like, the LaVine stats are, like, very much against him contributing to winning, but I really think Levine was he was actually an all-star. Like, Levine was a 2-time all-star for an actual reason. Like, to me, like, it's hard for me to like say that, oh, like, you're not contributing to winning. Like, just like with Trae Young, for example. Like, Trae Young was a multi-time all-star. Like, I think that Trae Young can still contribute to winning. He just hasn't played like, winning basketball recently. I very much am still on board that like Levine is still a winning player, but I know a lot of people are very much in disagreement with that. Like, I think if Levine just didn't have his contract, that people would be like, no, he's a solid player. But it's the contract that's like, hurting his overall image. Now, don't get me wrong, this season has been an absolute atrocious season overall, not just for the Kings, but also like for Zach in general. Like, the way he's being used is just terrible. But Kobe to me was never at Levine's level. Like, Kobe has never been the three-point shooter Levine has been. Like, I understand that Kobe has made more threes, like total threes than Levine in a season, but like, that doesn't matter much to me. Like, Kobe's percentages are just lower. And his overall efficiency is just lower as well. Not to mention that he's smaller. Like, he just isn't, Kobe was a worse defender than Levine, when Levine was not even trying that one season when Levine went out with injury. Like, that's how bad Kobe's defense overall is. It's just because of his overall body, and he just doesn't have a long wingspan, right? So yeah, I unfortunately think with Kobe, I'm just on the trade Kobe train at this point, just because the fit with Giddey, Gonzalez, and Kobe does not make any sense. I mean, in my opinion, I already think that Giddey and Gonzalez don't really complement each other, but to add on Kobe, who is, I know he's had a rough year, but his inefficiency is at the same level right now, and defensively he doesn't bring anything, and you need good defense around Giddey. It just doesn't make any sense. He's the guy in the expiring. He's also the oldest, so it just kind of makes sense to move him. But he was a better player at 25. Levine helpless is probably in the end. I do agree that Levine is his first All-Star season. I understand the net rating and everything was still in the negatives, but that's not his fault. Levine, that year he averaged 27 points per game. He was a very good player. But I know that today this season he's not been good. He's been terrible defense and his efficiency is not where he usually is. But his All-Star season, I still say he's a good player. But I think in Sacramento he's not being used properly. But the Kings are just an absolute mess right now, so I don't really fully blame them. But yeah, I have my overall thoughts on that. I know a lot of people are very much against Levine, but I'm just okay, let's look at this in a sense. Let's look at Kobe right now. Kobe's just worse. So if you didn't like Levine, but you somehow like Kobe, I kind of just get confused. But sure. I look at Quentin Grimes as a Levine comp to what he could do now. Maybe, but I think Levine can still be a 20-point per game scorer and a better efficiency if you just used properly. It'll be for sure interesting at deadline. I wonder if this will be finally the year to pull a trigger on being bad way too late in the year. I know. It's this would be the season to do it, but I don't think they're going to do it still. I think that they still want to get the playing game. But I hope, if you, let's say, for example, you trade Vucevic for, a bag of chips, you trade Collins and Herter, away or in some sort of fashion. However you use the expirings, trade Kobe, right? And we'll see what you get out of him. And commit to just kind of, development. I'm all for it. I don't think it's going to happen, but if, no matter what, you have to make some sort of decision here, in my opinion, with Kobe, right? And that's if you, let's say you don't trade Kobe, then all signs need to be pointing to that you're going to be re-signing him this offseason. What I don't want to have happen is that they decide not to trade Kobe, and then they flat out are just yeah, we're not bringing him back. That's going to piss me off to world's end, is if they decide to do that, because then it's just what are you doing? Grimes is a defender. I was talking about replacing Kobe with him. Oh, that's what you mean. Oh, I see. I don't think Philly is going to give up Grimes for Kobe, because Grimes is actually he's kind of their sixth man over there right now for Philly. He's in closing lineups for them, because Dominic Barlow starts for Philly, but then he doesn't close, and it's usually Grimes in to close those games. So I don't think it's gonna happen, but maybe there's a world where it does. But I think that Grimes is gonna be staying there. Um, there's more smoke this year. I think the worst part is if you do get a good pick in the lottery, it affirms their ego. More smoke with tearing it down. Oh, I see what you're saying. There is maybe more smoke about trades happening. I just don't know which way. But I would hope that this is the season that they actually decide to tear it down. I'd be very happy if they do so. And I agree. Like, let's say, for example, the Bulls don't tear it down and, like, they go into the lottery with, like, the 13th best odds and they get a top 4 pick. Like, they're going to be like, see, guys? Like, this is the plan all along. And I just, like, you guys better get the draft pick right or else, like, we are going to be absolutely, like, going and riding it at the United Center for decades. Because, like, this is it's just one of the worst plans ever. And I just hate Bulls fans that are just like, no, like, you know, we still have to be, we shouldn't be tanking or whatever because, like, tanking's not a strategy. Well, right now, the strategy, it seems like, is that we're going to try to get a top pick in the draft with, like, the 10th or worst best odds, right? Like, that is a worse strategy that has a much lower percentage of something good to happen versus us actually just tanking and trying to get a top pick, right? Like, there's higher probabilities to succeed if we just flat out tank versus us trying to, you know, get into the top 4 with, like, the 11th best odds to do so. Like, that's the part that I just don't think Bulls fans are, like, they're so, like, oh, like, anti-tank or whatever. I'm just like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, the way that this team is currently operating, because they're not signing free agents and they're not going ahead and make big deals, right? So it just seems like they're still just trying to depend on lottery luck, whether that's to hit on someone with the 11th overall pick or they're going to somehow jump into the top 4, right, based on the lottery. Like, that to me is a much, much worse, lower probability of things working out versus us just flat out just tanking and just trying to be bad and just hope the odds work out in our favor. Like, because we'll have higher odds of getting a top 4 pick versus us just sitting around where we're at right now. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. 76ers cannot re-sign Grimes. He'll go where he can be a scorer. Well, the problem is also, like, what I've said, personal freedom, is that at least what I think, this could change, but if Kobe White wants a, you know, like $100+ million contract this upcoming offseason, then the team that he gets traded to cannot give him an extension. Like, they're not going to be able to bring him back or extend him. And so, like, you're basically trading for an unrestricted free agent, right? And so I understand that Grimes is, like, probably going to be that as well with, I don't remember his contract. Is it a 1+1? Oh no, it's just a 1. Oh, I forgot. Wait, he took the qualifying offer, right? I think that's what he did. Okay, he did send a qualifying offer. Okay, so so actually, weirdly enough, like, I think that's actually probably like a bad trade for the Bulls, because if Grimes is traded here, then we don't have his bird rights, because if you sign a qualifying offer or like a 1-year deal with a non-guaranteed second year, like, if you get traded in that deal, you lose your bird rights. So I actually think that actually might not be that's just not the best overall decision, but I don't know, maybe, like, it might be all right. I'll have to think about this one, actually. Because for the 76ers, right, in my opinion, I think for them, they would just rather just keep Grimes, right? Because you would still have his bird rights. Like, yeah, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent, but you can re-sign him over the salary cap easily. Or I guess not easily, but you can just go and do it. I don't know. I'll actually have to think about that, honestly. But if they are going to trade Grimes, I do think that they're trading for someone that's, like, they have more team control over versus Kobe. But I don't know. Maybe. This is a fever dream. It is definitely interesting. Example for not taking is the Hawks when they made the play-in and still got a top 5 pick. Right, but that's one season. Like, they've done this multiple times, and they're not going to, you know, it's not like you get a top pick every year, right? The Dallas Mavericks also didn't take last season, right? And, you know, they won the coin flip with the Bulls, and they got Cooper Flag. Like, I get it, right? But are you going to be depending on that from here on out to be like, yeah, you know what? Let's also just, you know, keep hoping that somehow we hit. because that's definitely gonna just somehow happen. The prime example of what we should be doing is what the Philadelphia 76ers did last season, where they actively tanked the entire last season, like the latter part of the season, and they got a top 3 pick out of it. They got VJ Edgecombe. Like, the 76ers knew that their season was chalked, and instead of trying to barely make the play-in tournament, they tanked out the rest of the season, and they got the 3rd overall pick and got VJ Edgecombe out of it. Like, that to me is what the Bulls should be doing here. Like, there is no reason to be trying this season. You should be developing your players and force-feeding Matas Buzelis the ball and just trying to see if you can develop. If you end up winning because of development, that's one thing, but we haven't really done that this season. Like, Vucevic has gotten us a lot of wins, etc. Like, but the 76ers are a prime example of just like, yeah, you know what? Let's just chalk it in this season. Let's tank out. Let's try to be as bad as possible, and we get VJ Edgecombe out of it. Like, can you imagine if the Bulls got VJ Edgecombe like right now? If we had VJ Edgecombe right now, I would feel so much better about this Bulls team moving forward. But we don't. Like, we just don't have that right now. So, yeah, it's not a guarantee. If you have the worst record in the league, you're going to get the 1st overall pick. Ask the Detroit Pistons. It's happened to them, right? Now, they got Cade Cunningham eventually. But my point is that you're not going to be, like, the odds of you getting into the top 4 of the lottery are significantly slimmer if you're going to be hovering around the play-in tournament constantly. And yeah, there is always the possibility. I don't want to tank. I disagree with you, Xavier. I think we should tank. I flat out, like, we should, like, or basically what I should be saying is that I think that wins should not be the priority right now. Like, you know, trade Vucevic immediately. Like, get him off the team, because that to me is just like, we should be flat out saying, like, yeah, like, wins do not matter right now. Development matters first and foremost, and that's going to come with losing. So that should be the priority. Like, winning games and trying to make the play-in tournament should not be the priority for this team. Yeah, I'm aware. I understand that the Hawks are an example of why you think that we should not tank, but I'm saying what's a good example of why we should is the 76ers decided to tank, and they got VJ Edgecombe out of it. Like, the 76ers have a team built of Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey, and they saw an opportunity to be like, you know what, everyone's injured, let's just go ahead and just tank out the rest of the season. We're gonna sit Tyrese Maxey for the rest of the year, and they got VJ Edgecombe out of it. Like, that's a prime example of what you should be doing, I think. Well, Miles Turner so bad will be a better defensive team. I don't think he fixes our issues, honestly. Miles Turner is a good defensive, like, he's a good shot blocker, but he's not a good rebounder, and I think he's not going to fix all the issues with this Bulls team. Like, he's not what we fully need. We need an absolute defensive overhaul, not just the interior, but also the perimeter guys. Like, there is very little perimeter defense on this team, at least in terms of who plays a lot. And that's the biggest issue overall. Like, the interior defense is also bad, but, like, you could have Rudy Gobert on this roster, and I still think this Bulls team is bottom 10 in defensive rating, because they don't have any perimeter defenders. And we saw with the Utah Jazz, like, the Utah Jazz had Gobert in his prime, and you can have, you know, Rudy Gobert, but if you don't have any defense surrounding him, and it's just a bunch of bad perimeter defenders, like, he can't make up for it. So I think this team is very, very, very far away from being like an actual, like, decent, like, a solid team of, like, we're actually, like, fighting for top 6. Because here's the thing, like, I don't think some Bulls fans, like, fully are looking at this right now. But when it comes to the standings right now, so I know a lot of people thought Boston was going to be terrible this season, and, you know, I was one of the people that said Boston was going to be the 6th seed, so small one in my favor. But, like, the East is extremely open right now still. Even with Boston being the 3 seed, the East is so wide open, okay? Like, there's only 4 games separating between these teams, but yet the Chicago Bulls have still found a way to be the 10 seed, even when the East is not as good. So, I just think that, like, that to me should be the biggest red flag of it all. Just, like, you're still finding a way to be in the play-in tournament when the Eastern Conference is a little bit more open, and you're still finding a way to be down here. Like, you're already bottom 6 in the conference. How about you just become bottom 4? I think it'd just be better for you. It's not that hard. I think the Milwaukee Bucks are going to pass us, by the way. I'm not sure about like Atlanta, Cleveland, and Miami. Like those are the kind of the teams I'm still I'm still even kind of waiting for Philly to kind of drop off a little bit here. But as long as like that backcourt continues to just roll and Embiid's honestly looking pretty solid for all things considered. Yeah, we'll see. Cleveland's still kind of this weird team right now that I'm like, I think they're gonna like we'll see. Like they've been disappointing this season. Atlanta should be better without Trae Young. Miami is just a team that goes through like ebbs and flows. So we'll see where that leads us. But then Milwaukee, assuming Giannis stays healthy, I do think they'll be passing the Bulls. But yeah, it's gonna come down to just this, trade deadline that happens, and we'll see which direction teams take. I think Charlotte passes us also after the deadline. Really? Ooh. Yeah, I personally disagree with that. I mean, Charlotte just lost to the Pacers today, and that's the Pacers' second road win of the season. We were the only other road win for the Pacers this season. So I personally disagree, but maybe if Charlotte can kind of get their shit together, well, I mean, Concaniple's very solid. LaMelo though is just like he's either like the best player in the world one night or is just like one of the worst players in the world the other night. Brandon Miller, I will say, is coming into better form recently. Like he's been playing better. But they gotta get healthy. So Io's non-defender Patrick is pretty decent. Both those players come off the bench. Zay over. In your starting lineup right now, you have a backcourt that neither really play good defense in Gideon White, right? Isaac Okoro that tries, okay, but he's not the biggest defender in the world. He is 6'4", okay, at your small forward position, so you can't guard the bigger guys, okay? And he also doesn't get deflections, which is something that I don't think people fully look at with Okoro. Like, Okoro tries, don't get me wrong, but he's smaller than like a 6'7" defender, and he doesn't get deflections. So like he's like an alright defender. Buzelis is also not a good perimeter defender right now. Like he's had issues on the perimeter end to try to guard guys. Now he's been a pretty good shot blocker, but he's not been a good perimeter defender. He has struggled mightily to guard the guys in the perimeter this season, and it's becoming a bit of an issue, which is why a lot of Bulls fans are critical of him recently. And then obviously you have Vucevic, who doesn't try on defense. So your starting lineup is made up of 4 terrible perimeter defenders or overall bad defenders, and Okoro, who's okay. Like, that's not a good defensive team. Now, Io is also part of the Okoro category a little bit. Like, Io can try, and I do think that more recently he's been a better defender, but he also is a guy that doesn't get deflections. Like, this is like the Bulls are like bottom of the league in like deflections, honestly, this season, and that's not good defense. Like, that's just a problem. Patrick Williams also is like kind of falls in that same category. Now, I will say that I do think Patrick has tried in certain moments that are a little bit better compared to last season when it comes to his defensive ability. But he's like, he was out of the rotation when we're all healthy. So it's like, all right, Kevin Huerter's not a good defender, and he's been playing a lot of minutes recently. And so your best defender arguably is Trey Jones, and he's 6 foot. So I don't think it's honestly really ridiculous for me to say that I think this team is terrible when it comes to the defense, because their starting lineup has 4 guys that are overall been bad on defense, except for Buzelis' shot blocking and Okoro a little bit trying. And you got guys coming off the bench that are not good defenders either. And Patrick Williams is not playing a lot of minutes because he has been an absolute detriment on the offensive end because he can't make his twos. Your best defender that actually goes and gets deflections is Trey Jones. Like, that's how it goes. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to find the deflections. Maybe it. What the fuck? All right, hold on. Defensive dashboard, maybe? No. Where is it? Oh, is it Hustle? Yeah, Bulls are last in the league in deflections per game this season. So, I don't know. I don't know what you want to really fully tell me here, but when you have a team that consistently gives up the most, they're at the top, near the top of the league in terms of points given up in the paint per game. So I'll show you that here. Okay, so we're near the top of the league in terms of giving up opponents points in the paint per game. Our overall advanced numbers here with defensive rating, or we're bottom six in the league. Like, this is not a good defensive team. And so adding on a Miles Turner is not going to help this team just suddenly become like fantastic. Like, this team is going to be still having a lot of issues defensively, even if you add a Miles Turner to the roster. Like, I even said, like, I think you can add Rudy Gobert to this roster, and I still think that this team is overall a bottom half defensive team in the league. This team needs an overhaul when it comes to their defensive identity, and it's a problem that they're having issues with their starting backcourt that has been named the starting backcourt of the future, apparently, as like, yeah, we're gonna roll with these two guys. And I'm like, okay, well, Giddey can't even guard guards, so you have to put him on a guy that is, you know, like a forward or something that is slower. Kobe also just can't stay in front of anybody, so those two just are horrific defensively. And Buzelis is like, you're forcing Buzelis to guard more guys on the perimeter because Giddey can't guard guards. Like, problems. This is not the way I want to build a team, but this is how we're building a team. Bulls lost to the Pacers too, yeah. Like I said, so the two Pacers wins on the road this season are the Hornets and the Bulls somehow. Like, ugh. That the way till mid-January, see if the Bulls do any moves in which they can get multiple players from multiple players. I don't see it happening personally, but I hope. I want to see something to be done here, but it better be the right decisions. Like, I don't want to just make a bunch of trades just to make a bunch of trades. Like, you gotta do like the proper things. Pat's defense is good, but his offense is so bad, his defense isn't good enough to make up for it. I don't even know if I want to call Pat's defense good. It's like decent. Like, he's not a guy to be guarding, like, you know, some of the, like, the bigger, like, you know, kind of bigger guys. Like, you can put him on Zion and he does like a pretty decent job, but like, I don't want him guarding guards because he's too slow-footed to be guarding guards. But like, you put him on like a 6'6" power guy, like, yeah, he'll hold his own. But at the same time though, like, he doesn't do enough. Like, you know, put him on Banchero, actually, was like, that actually worked out pretty good. But Banchero's also been pretty awful this season. But yeah, either way though, like, he's not really getting that many minutes just because his offense is so atrocious. Like, I can't have a guy who, I don't even know what he's shooting now, but it's been even worse recently. But his 2-point percentage was just so atrocious that's just like, I can't have him out there. Like, this dude doesn't make his layups, for God's sake. The Pats shooting 37.7% on the season. God, man, I don't know what to do with this man. So yeah, he's nearly out of steal per game. Is you know, lower blocks though. Let's see shooting percentage here. His laps. All right, restricted area, shooting 41% in the restricted area this season. That's ridiculous. On layups, he's shooting 38.6%. So he is shooting a better percentage for 3-point range than he is on his layup attempts this season. I don't even know what to do with this man. Like, two-way players, you know, they're ruling the league right now, and Pat, unfortunately, is like, he's not that. He's not even a two-way player because his offense is just so atrocious that it doesn't do anything for his defense. His 2-point percentage is 35.6%. Like, that is horrendous. Yeah, Trey Jones Trey Jones has been the Bulls' best defender this season, but again, he's small. Like, I can't have Trey Jones, you know, going out there and guarding, you know, Luka Doncic constantly or something like that. Like, he's been very solid. I appreciate him, but like, you know, he's more geared to guarding Trae Young versus guarding some of the bigger guards in this league. Like, I'm not putting him on Kate Cunningham, for example. It's just not going to work. Yeah, he's been all right. Turner is going to help the rebounding part of this team. Yeah, that's also the problem with Turner. Yeah. Pat's contract is so bad that Bulls are basically stuck with him until it runs out. That's what I'm thinking as well. But we'll see. You know, things can happen. You never want to say never. Timofey Mozgov got traded. Bismack Biyombo got traded. But yeah, we'll see. All right. Any update here? I just want to see from Shams if there's any update about the scheduled game. Seems to not be anything. But yeah, Kobe didn't get to play in the game today, so he sat out yesterday because he's not playing in back-to-backs anymore, and now he isn't able to play today. So that's just disappointing. Yeah, okay, we'll see what happens here. I'm a little bit just concerned. So if you're wondering about like the schedule here for the rescheduled game, excuse me. So this is the All-Star break. I'm kind of concerned that NBA is gonna like add a game here or something. I don't want that to happen. I just think it's unnecessary. But like I can kind of see it happening, unfortunately. That would be kind of rough though for the players, but you know, it is what it is. The problem is, like, I kind of briefly looked at the schedule. Like, the Bulls have just a lot of just like play a game off day, play a game off day, and so it's kind of hard to kind of fit in another game suddenly. I guess there is like a bit of a break here, maybe between the end of February into March. Maybe there's like a possibility of that working out. See about the Heat schedule. Nope, never mind. Okay, never mind. Just yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know how this is gonna work out. So we'll find out soon enough, though, when the game will be made up. In the meantime, though, I do think that we need to be paying full attention to all the rumors that are being put out about the Bulls, and see maybe gauge where they're gonna be going with the trade deadline. Again, I want to see like a teardown. I know that that's very much probably not in the cards this trade deadline, but like again, trade Vucevic, please. Get him off the team. He doesn't want to be here anyway right now. And make a decision, man. The last thing I want to see happen is us just stand pat. That's gonna really piss me off if that does happen. So let's pay attention to the trade deadline. Let's pay attention to see how Kobe kind of, you know, moving forward with his injuries and, you know, the calf strains and everything, how he kind of responds, and see when Giddey's going to come back here, as we'll get a reevaluation in about a week or so, I think, about Giddey. So we'll see how his hamstring strain is going to be, which I'm going to just kind of guess he's going to be out for like 4 weeks total. But we'll see. In the meantime, though, I want to say, before I send you guys off, go Bears. So on Saturday, the Bulls do play on Saturday, but reminder again, the Bulls will be playing when this game is happening. So therefore, I am not going to be doing a post-game stream, because it's just like, why? There's just no reason to do so. But I think everyone in the city of Chicago, if you're a sports fan, should be paying attention to this game. So absolutely go Bears. I'll be cheering the Bears on. Hopefully this goes well. Please beat the Packers, please. I'd be very happy if we do. So again, it is on Amazon Prime, but if you didn't know, all Amazon Prime games are free to watch on Twitch live. So if you're not in the Chicago area and don't want to pay for a Prime subscription, which again I understand why you wouldn't, you can watch it on Twitch.tv. So that is available to you if you wanted to go ahead and watch the game if you're not in the Chicago area. If you're in the Chicago area and you get Fox 32, the game will be broadcasted on Fox 32. So don't fret if you're like, oh my god, it's on Amazon Prime. Like, okay, again, there's many ways if you're in the Chicago area to watch it for free. Again, it's on Fox 32. Like, if you have an antenna, Fox 32 should be available to you. Again, if you can't get it, then you can watch it on Twitch.tv. That will be available to you for free. No subscription necessary to watch it on Twitch.tv. Okay. So again, everyone should be paying attention to this game on Saturday. The Bulls will be facing the Mavericks. We shouldn't be worrying about that, honestly. Cooper Flag is in town. It sucks at the timing, but it is what it is. So no post game stream Saturday. So I'll be seeing you guys. I think it's Tuesday next time. I don't really know when the Bulls are playing, actually. Check that out. Where are we at? Who do the Bulls face next? Is it the besides Dallas? The Rockets? It is Houston. Okay, so the Bulls will be in Houston on January 13th. I believe that's Tuesday. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be seeing you guys after this game on Tuesday. All right. Thank you guys for tuning into the stream. I know it's a weird stream, weird situation. I'm just so mad about the situation overall, but hopefully maybe we'll figure things out.
Someone needs to be punished, in my opinion. I feel bad for all the fans involved. Hopefully they get a full refund and everything. But that being said, I'll see you guys next week. All right, go Bears. All right, see you guys. Have a good night. Be safe. Peace.